Shares of New York City REIT Empire State Realty Trust are down about 7% today. The Empire State building owners' second quarter results were in line, but they have lowered full year guidance. Here to explain is Anthony Malkin. He is the CEO. It's great to see you again. And what gives?
Hey, Kelly.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. Great to be here.
So tell me why the change in outlook.
Well, in the observatory, we had an unusual number of bad weather days consistently on weekends, and that continued all through the first 2 months of the second quarter. And in addition, demand has been lower from our past program business, which is predominantly international. Against that backdrop, we make changes and we adjust and we pivot to access the tourists who are here, but we have to confront that, and we thought it would be the correct thing at this time to adjust our guidance. That's
super interesting, and I could spend the rest of this program raging about how bad the weather's been. So let no one think this is an excuse. It has been horrendous on the weekends, and I feel for you and any other business that depends on that. But the visitor issue is really fascinating, so let's talk about that. Tony, what are you experiencing in terms of a drop, and is it international visitors to the Empire State Building?
Well, it's really focused on our past programs, and it's mostly foreigners who purchase those past programs. So that is where someone buys a multi-attraction package, and we are one of them. So that said, we have, in fact, delivered $24 million of NOI to the bottom line. Our revenue per person is up more than 2.3%. So we adjust and we strengthen. Our visitors are now more than 50%, approximately a little more than 50% domestic versus international. Pre-COVID, that was probably 2/3 international versus about a little over 1/3 domestic. So it is a change. That said, we go forward and we address the folks who are here.
But in other words, those who we've all seen the headlines, and I heard anecdotally about international visitors who are worried about visiting the U.S. because of all the changes in immigration, all these things going on. That you think that's creating a damper on demand for instance, Manhattan sightseeing?
I think there's a part of that. At the same time, we've got business to do, and we intend to do it. And on our leasing, on the other hand, has been super strong. Signed 222,000 square feet of leases in our Manhattan portfolio in the last quarter, 12.1% leasing spreads mark to market. So that's our 16th consecutive quarter of positive leasing spreads. So the nice thing is, with our observatory, our office, our retail, and our residential, we have multiple pistons in our engine, and we'll certainly be drawing on our strong leasing as we continue really to outperform the market.
Understood. And let me just introduce one more headwind to those, amidst all of those that you hope will be firing and helping you. Former New York governor and now independent candidate for New York City Mayor Andrew Cuomo weighed in on Mamdani's Democratic primary win last month. Here's what he said on Squawk Box this morning.
First of all, you can't have a socialist city in a capitalist nation. That does not work, right? You can't have a city where you say everything is free. We're going to have hyper-tax wealthier people and expect them to stay here, right? They'll move. They'll leave.
Do you have any concerns about the outcome of this election?
Well, look, New York City is resilient, dynamic, and in demand by talent who wants to move here and build their careers here. Number one. Number two, we don't do politics. We do policy. And the reality is everyone's concern has to be about New York City, quality of life, opportunities for growth. And we've worked with successive New York City administrations. We'll work with the next. An awful lot of what gets determined and decided with regard to New York City's budget is determined and decided by what happens up in Albany. And that's after the Beam administration and the controls that were put in place over New York City's budget during that period of time. That said, the priority of every New York City mayor should be New York City's safe streets, schools, and businesses, respect for all its citizens. And I think that if there is a better message out there, voters will go to that. At the moment, as I said, we work with all the people in power, and we do what's necessary to make things work.